If you have not already watched the first video that we did on Switcher Studio, I would greatly encourage you to go back and watch that one first, and then come here and watch this one if you're interested in using this. Switcher Studio works off iOS devices, which is iPhones and iPads. So it will not work off of any Android devices. So I'll go ahead and get that out of the way. So you're wanting to use Switcher Studio, and the first thing that you need to do is get on your computer and go to switcherstudio.com. When you get there, scroll down a little, and you should see Start Your Free Trial or Start Now, either one of those. Click on that and put your information in, and then you will be ready to start using Switcher. When you put your information in, you will get a 2-week free trial, and after the 2 weeks are up, it's going to ask you if you want to continue to use Switcher, and then it would start charging you by whatever plan you select. I recommend the cheapest plan. It has everything that a church needs for live streaming. The more advanced plans are more for businesses, more than a church live stream. So once you have Switcher set up, you want to go on all the devices that you want to use for cameras. So iPhones. So we use 3 iPhones at our church. We have one on the right side, one on the left side, and one in the middle mounted to the ceiling. And I'll get to that in a second. And then we have an iPad that can switch between the cameras. So that's the point of the name, Switcher. So go ahead and go to all the iPhone devices that you want to use. So I'm going to use this phone as example. This is going to be our camera. I'm already using a phone right here. So this is camera number 1, camera number 2. And then also on your iPad or another phone that you can switch between. It doesn't have to be an iPad, but it helps if it is an iPad. It's a little bit bigger and you can see better. Okay. So you want to go ahead and open up your phone. Right? Yeah, let me turn the brightness up. Okay. So you want to go ahead and open up your iPhone and go to the App Store and download Switcher Studio. So I'm just go ahead and type that in. Usually there'll be an ad, and then it'll be the second thing on the list. So it's right there. It's very orange, but it says Switcher Studio. So I already have it downloaded, so I'm just going to click open, but you would click download. So go ahead and download it. And once you get it downloaded on all the devices that you want to use, go ahead and open it up on all the devices. On the iPad, or the phone that you're using Switcher on, to switch, you want to log in with your account. So you would click the login button and then put your email address and the password that you created for your account in. And that'll bring up a screen with a bunch of controls. And we'll get to the controls in a minute. And then on your iPhone that you are using as a camera, you want to download it and click remote camera mode. Also, all the phones and iPad have to be on the same internet connection. That's how it works wirelessly. They send it to the internet sends it to the iPad or phone you're using as Switcher. So go ahead and put them all on the same internet connection. It needs to be a strong internet connection as well. So go ahead and put them on the same internet connection and open up Switcher on your Switcher device, so your iPad or phone, whichever you're using for that, and open up Switcher in all the other camera devices, so like this iPhone, and click on remote camera mode. And it'll show these numbers. Those are important some of the time, but right now on our iPad, we can already see, let me zoom in here, we can see right here is the live feed. This is what's live, this is what's previewing, so I have them both so I can zoom. But right here is all the phones that are open in Switcher. This one's already connected, so we want to click on Anthony's iPhone because that's what that iPhone's name is. We'll click on that, and that will turn this one into a camera. So now it is a camera, and you can see that. All right, so now that you have your camera hooked up, or cameras, you need somewhere to put them. So you can buy a tripod like this at Walmart for $10, maybe less than that online. this tripod is pretty cheap, so I wouldn't recommend children being around this because it could easily be knocked over and then your phone is hitting the floor. So also, you want to buy one of these. You can get these at Walmart for a few bucks. You can get a pack of them. You can probably get 20 online for $5. This is a phone holder that just screws into your tripod. So I'm going to put the phone in here. Oop. Let me do it this way. So I got the phone in here. So now we have the phone there. So now I'm going to switch to this view, and I'm just going to point it at the end of our auditorium. So go ahead and switch over to that. So that's our view. It's not very pretty. So this tripod is pretty cheap. So it's very wiggly. Stronger tripods won't wiggle like that. It just depends on the tripod you buy. So stronger tripod, you won't have to worry about this, but since I have a wiggly one and you might have a wiggly one, I'll go ahead and tell you exactly what you need to do. If you feel like it's leaning too far, so it's crooked like that, you want to, here, let me switch to this. You want to take your phone and tilt it the other way. Not tilt it, but push it more that way. And then it won't lean this way anymore. It'll be more straight. All right, so this is what is good about Switcher Studio. I don't have to touch this phone anymore once I put it where I want it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this phone right there so I can look at it, and it can be pointing at me. All right, so now on my Switcher Studio app, I can see this phone. I'm going to go ahead and click on that, switch it over. So now I'm looking at you over here and over here. So we'll go ahead and use this one for right now. Okay, so if you are a pastor that likes to move around a lot, the tripod is great. You want someone at the tripod to move it, because if you're moving around, you go out of shot, and your viewers can't see you anymore. You don't want that. You want your viewers to be looking at you the whole time. So what I recommend is having someone at the tripod if you can't afford something I'm about to show you. Now, the problem with being at the tripod is this. I'm going to grab this tripod, and I'm going to show you what it looks like when you're turning a tripod. Especially, it's worse on cheap tripods like this. So I'm going to set the tripod right here. I'm going to put it right there. I'm just going to do something real quick. It's kind of dark, so I'm just going to brighten. Let me just brighten that up so you can see a little bit better. Okay. So you got your tripod, and you have someone moving it, and this is what it looks like. It's kind of shaky. If I unscrew this so it's a little bit more, unscrew this so I can turn. It's kind of shaky, especially if you got to tilt up and down. It's not very good. And the reality is, if you're having to live stream to all your viewers because they can't come to church, you're probably not going to have someone that can run to 3 cameras to change all of them. So this is something that we bought that helps with that. If you buy one of these, do not put it on a cheap tripod. You want a more expensive tripod so it will not fall off, because these are not cheap, and they'll break if you drop them. So let me set this tripod over here now. Okay. All right, I'll switch to this one. All right, so this is a DJI Osmo Mobile 2. This is the second one. This is a gimbal. What it does is you put your phone in it, and it holds the phone perfect like this. So I'm going to show you how to do that with this phone over here. Well, actually, yeah, switch to that one. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this phone. All right. So setting this up is a little complicated, and I'm not the best at it, so you might want to look up more videos on how to do that. So you need your Bluetooth on your phone turned on, so you can just swipe up here and have it on. All right, and then you're going to put your phone you're going to put your phone, let me zoom in on that. Well, yeah, now you can see me holding it. Okay, so you put your phone in here like this, it clamps down on it. And then you want to get it snug in there. Okay, now you have to balance your phone. It has to be balanced like this already, so the gimbal's not having to do that much work. So right now it's unbalanced that way. So on the back here, I don't know if you can, on the back here, this thing right here, you can unscrew that and pull it out and screw it back in, and that should counteract it. Okay, so it is working too much. So I'm going to push it back some more. And perfect, look at that. So you got your phone, and you want to click these little 3 lines up here in the corner. And then you click on the DJI Osmo Mobile / I don't know what that said. I clicked out of too fast. And then you want to hold down this button right here. Keep in mind, this does not come charged. I don't think it does, so you do have to charge it with the charger that comes with. So you hold this down until those light up all the way, and it should flatten out, and you should see the Osmo Mobile. Click it, and it should have a little check mark by it. I don't know if you can see that, but it has a little check. And I'll hit menu and done. And now I have a very smooth turning gimbal. You can turn down and up. So let me switch to this view. So you can see I can turn around, and this is really nice for when you're walking around. So you can either have someone hold this, because I'm holding it, and look, I'm moving around, and now watch this, hold on. This is really cool. Picture in a picture, I won't. Yeah, there we go. So you can see on the bottom there that I'm moving around, and look how stable that is. I wouldn't advise moving around, because I mean it does move, and then you can turn it like that. Let me switch back to this. You can turn it by just turning your wrist, or by using the little thumbstick right here. Okay, now the second part of this, which makes this really awesome. I wouldn't advise doing this either, but give me a sec. I'm going to grab a sturdy tripod and my gimbal. So I'm going to, hold on. So I'm going to take this piece off. More expensive tripods can do this. I'm just going to screw it in to the bottom of the gimbal. It may take me a second. It's kind of hard to do with the phone in there. Do this definitely before you put the phone in it. Hold on, I can do it this way. All right. So just screw it on gently, because you don't want to mess up the phone. Oh yeah, another thing, don't put pressure on the phone. Don't push down on the phone or anything like that. Just let the gimbal do all the work, and let gravity be the only pressure that is put on the phone and the gimbal. All right, so now I got it screwed in there real tight, and I'll drop it down a little. All right, this is the cool thing. This is really awesome. This is why we bought it. So I'm just going to turn mine. I'm going to turn it like this. Okay. So now it's even more stable, because I'm not having to hold it, and I can turn like this. And I can see him. I can zoom in. Okay. So I'm going to switch to the camera view. All right, this is the cool part. Without touching the camera, hold on, without touching the camera, I can control it. It's moving around, and you can see that. So now I can have this tripod in the front of the church, and I can be in the back of the church, because you're going to have to be wherever your sound booth is, because I'll get to that in a second why, but you're going to have to be back with your sound booth. I can control it and move it around. And also, that is the reason why you don't want your phones in the back of the auditorium. Can you see how, let me see, switch to that. You see how grainy that is compared to me in this picture? It's because it's zoomed in so far. So, yeah, but you can control it with your iPad or phone, whatever you're using as your switcher. Okay, so I'll go ahead and Switch back to me. So that's the great thing about having a gimbal. This is about $120 online, so I think it's completely worth it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. So it's cut off. And yeah, don't try to take your phone out of it when it's cut on. You definitely want to cut it off. I'm going to take it off my tripod, and then I'm going to go through some of this stuff on the screen, which I'm going to need the bad tripod for. So I have this tripod. I'll put my phone in it and point it at the screen so you can see exactly what I'm doing. So you can follow along if you need to, or however you need to do this. All right. So you should be able to see that. There might be a small glare. I'm sorry if there is. There also is going to be a infinite loop of cameras right there. Okay. All right, so this is the interface. And this is where things start to get a little tricky. So when you start off, you should start off on this screen. And I already showed you how to connect your cameras. So, all right, and we'll get to this in a second. So I'm going to go to the screens at the bottom. So this screen is our outputs. This is all the places we can stream to. We can stream to Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitch, or custom RTPM, or none if you want to record like I'm doing right now. So you don't just have to use this for live streaming. So we have Facebook. This is what we use. So I would click this little arrow right here. I can't do it right now because I am recording, but I would click that arrow right there, and then I could set up where I want to live stream to. If I wanted to live stream to my personal Facebook page, or a Facebook page that I manage or an admin over. You can stream to any page that the Facebook account that is linked to your Switcher Studio account that has admin over. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go to the next thing. All right, this is effects. So effects just changes what it looks like when you switch between cameras. So I'm going to switch between cameras so you can see that on cross. All that does is just a hard cut between the two. Then there's cross dissolve, which I like most for when we're live streaming. It slowly fades in between the two cameras, which looks really nice. Then there's wipe, which, I mean, some people could use that. I feel like it's a little unprofessional for church. There's cut, which I also feel is unprofessional for church. And there's twist, but we use cross dissolve when we're live streaming church services, but I'm going to keep it at cut for what I'm doing. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and scroll down. Then there's multi-view. We use these every once in a while. Honestly, some of these I don't know how to use. I know how to use split screen, so I can split the screen like that with the two cameras. I don't think it's really necessary for most things. Then you have flap, flap, which does like that, slots, and then picture-in-a-picture, which I do like for what I'm doing today, but really most of the time these are not things that I'm going to use. All right, now we have our camera control. You won't zoom turned on, it automatically comes turned on, but just don't cut that off, because cutting zoom off takes that little control right here away, which is how you can zoom in and out. So that's a big thing. I wouldn't mess with any of these. Apple's pretty good about all of this. Sometimes it's too bright or too dark, so if it was too bright or too dark, you want to grab your exposure, put it on manual, or put it on A+, actually. So it's still using AI, but you get to control a little bit more. And it should pop up a little sun right here. So I can turn that up to make it brighter, or down to make it darker. I'm going to put it back on manual because it's doing a pretty good job. Then there's white balance. So if you notice that your walls that are white don't look white, you need to put this on manual. And this is how you just move these up and down until you get your walls to be white. So the raindrop's going to change the greens and blues, and this one's going to change the red and oranges. So if you have it turned off, it's going to be blue. Up, it's going to be red. Up is going to be oh, purple, I'm sorry, and it's going to be green down. So I'm going to put that on manual because it's doing a good job. LED light. This is cool. We don't use it, but I'll point this at the other camera and you can see what LED light is. So there's that camera right there. If I turn the LED light on, it flashes on. And then there's different settings. So like I can have it on tally, which means when that camera is the one that is live, which this is stuff that's live, this is what's in preview. So if that camera over there is live and it's on tally, that little light will come on. So if the pastor wants to look at the camera that's live at the moment, he can look at that. Then there's stabilization, which I highly recommend to have on. It does not come on manually. You have to turn that on. Stabilization just makes your shot a lot smoother when zooming in. You might not be able to really see the difference there, especially in slow zoom. You can really see it shakes. Here, let me switch to that. You can really see it like shakes when you slow zoom. And with stabilization turned on, it does not. It's very smooth. So I would recommend having that turned on. Then there's lock autofocus when live. You do not want that turned on. That means if your pastor moves at all, he's gonna go out of focus. All right, then you have this. This is very important. This is something you really need to pay attention to because it's almost the most important thing. This is why we have Switcher Studio. More even though than having more than one camera, it's audio quality. So you can run audio to your iPad or your iPhone with this thing right here. This is called iRig 2. It takes a mono input and changes it to auxiliary, so you can plug it into your iPad or iPhone. If your iPhone is below the iPhone 8, because the iPhone 8 got rid of the jack, but you can get a dongle to convert that. You can get a dongle to convert that. Okay, and then if you are not using this for live streaming, and I don't see why you wouldn't be, because you're watching this tutorial for churches which are trying to live stream. But you can record audio from the other two phones, or 3 or 100, how many other phones that you have. Okay, so we're gonna go on to the next one. This one is Facebook chat. I think it only works on Facebook and YouTube. I'm not entirely sure, but I know it works with Facebook. So if you're live streaming, which I'm not, so it's not gonna work, I would click load comments, and any comments that come in or reactions would come up right here, but I'm not on a Facebook live stream right now, so nothing's going to show up. We have the next screen. Some churches might have use for this. We've never used this. This is a video chat room that anyone with a computer can join you on Switcher Studio, so you can interview them or ask them questions. I see the use for this. You could have missionaries in. I've never used it, so I can't show you how to use it. But it's there for your use. They're also, right now, they're giving you unlimited hours of talk time. Usually I think it's an hour or maybe 30 minutes. I'm not sure. It's more the more amount you pay. Okay, there's scoreboard. We've never used this. Basically, it's a scoreboard. So I mean, if you're live streaming something that you need a scoreboard for, you can use that. We've never used it. There's Facebook polling. We've also never used this, so I can't really show you how to use it, but it's basically you can ask questions and people on Facebook can answer them through a poll. And then there's this last thing. It's just you can switch the order of all these tabs down here, and you can also delete them if you don't want them. So I'm just going to close out that. All right, now we're going to go to something that is important, this right here. So these are your sources. So you can have, I believe, up to 5 phone sources. I'm not entirely sure with that. We've only ever had 3 at a time connected to here. So we have 2 connected right now, so I can cut that off and back on. All right, so then you have stuff like this. Can you see that? Thank you for watching. So that is it's a cool thing that you can throw up on, it's overlays, or what they're called. So I can have mbbcjessup.com. So that's our website. And then I can have you probably can't see it because we're not, no, you can't see it. Maybe you can see it in the bottom right corner, but it just says north side, and it's our emblem. So we can have something like this when we start. The service will start shortly. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. We'll be back shortly. We can have a follow us on Facebook thingy pop up. Come back tonight at 6:30 p.m. These are all just things that you can customize by clicking this plus button. You can add photos if you want, videos. That's good for if you're having missionaries in. You can put their video on your iPad, and then you can stream it so the people on the stream can watch it. Text graphics, that's how you get the thank you for watching and stuff. You click on that. You would want a title, and then you can customize all of these. And then there's different things, multi-views. You can set up cameras to have that as a preset, so you can just click on that and not have to go through settings. And then there's logos, which that's how we got the little north side thing. I think it would be good to have a technical issues page, because it is inevitable that you're going to have technical issues. And then a thank you for your patience little pop-up thing. And live from Jessup, Georgia, so you can say wherever you're from. And be back with us tomorrow night at 7. We had that for a revival. Okay. Now let's go through this right here. This is your live screen. So whatever is on this side of the screen is what is live at the moment. What is on this side of the screen is what you're previewing. So if you click this and you think that this is what they're seeing, they're not. They're seeing what is ever right here. So if you want them to see this, so you can just if you click on this and you want them to see this, you want to click this preview and live button. It'll switch the two back and forth. So this one's going to go over here, and your live is going to go in your preview. So this is good for zooming. If you don't want to zoom during the shot while it's live, you can switch to another camera and zoom in. So if you just click on that, it switches automatically, as you can see. I'll switch back to that. And then if you turn this thing off, the moment you click on it, well, actually, no, that's not how that works. When you click the preview, it makes this screen black. I like having this on because when I switch between the two, if you click this thingy, it turns the screen. I can't show you, but you want this thing on because it will switch whatever's over here to over here when you click this preview/live. And if this is not on, when you click the preview live, it puts this over here, and this is just a black screen, and you have to select what you want. So I think it's better because most of the time you're going to just be switching back and forth usually between your main camera and your right or left camera. So I think it's more useful to have that turned on. And then also you can change the size of these if you want them large or small. I like them about this size. And then also you can turn this off, which gets rid of your preview completely, and whatever you touch becomes live, which I don't like that, because if you mistouch, it goes live. So you definitely want that turned on so you can not mistouch. Also double tapping whatever you want puts it to the live. All right, now we have this thing up here. This is the mute button. If you click muted, you get muted. So I can't tell you of any real reason you have this, just for the scenario where that one time you just need to mute it real quick. So there's AF, which means autofocus. You want that turned on. If you don't have it turned on, you're gonna have to manually focus, which is not easy to do. And autofocus works fine. And there's this. When you click on this, click on that button right there, it switches the camera. Let me switch it. When I click on that button, it switches to the back camera. So I will switch to that when I'm looking. So I'm looking at it, and if I click it, boop, wrong thing. Yep, it just switched to the background, and then over here, switched to me. That's not something you're probably going to want to do any ever, so I just leave that alone. You have the information button up here, which that's a good thing because you can see the storage on this device is almost full, but I can see the battery on this device and the battery on all the devices connected to this one. So Anthony's iPhone is perfectly fine. So that's this camera, which I'm using to record this. Anthony's iPhone 2, which is the camera over there, this camera, it's about half battery, or a little less than half battery. So you just need to keep a watch on that if you're not having your cameras plugged up. Although I would advise to have your cameras plugged up. Okay. I believe that is everything that I can think of right now. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments or call our church. Our church number will be in the description of the video. And I believe that's it. So have a good day, and I hope everything works out for you.